What's up, good people? How are you?
I've been pretty good, to say the least. Blessed and highly favored. How about yourself?
How have you really been? I just read in my book the other day, like, when people say, how are you? I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
So you're good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
Honestly.
Okay.
See, that's a funny thing. Our son, he tells the truth.
He tells the truth.
Right now at 4. So, like, if he falls,
Yeah.
like, every time if I pick him up, I be like, whoa, little boy, you all right? No.
No. He would straight up say, no, I'm not okay.
No.
Like, it hurt.
Yeah, I think that's a good call out. In this instance, I am telling the truth, though. I have been pretty good. How about you?
Yeah, I'm better this week. I probably wouldn't have said I was good last week. I was a little stressed with work and all those things. This has been a much better week. It's been more relaxed. I haven't had as many meetings per day at work. And so it's allowed me to, even throughout my work day, focus on myself, which is so needed for me. And just starting my day off right. Starting my day off with God, starting my day off with my quiet time, going in my room over there, prioritizing my day, asking God what would he have me to do for the day. Just getting back into the things that set myself up for success day to day. I kind of have fell off from that.
Yeah.
But yeah, all that to say, I'm better. I'm better. It's been a good week.
That's
and
a good
it's
deal.
Friday.
That's
so.
a good deal. I'm glad.
Yeah. What are we talking about today?
What we talking about today? Mm-hmm. Man, I'll actually, the subject's changed, right?
Oh, it just changed from what I knew about?
Nah.
Oh.
It did earlier. Well, we had a planned topic that we were going to talk about, but during my reading time this morning, something else popped up that I thought would be important that we dive into.
Let's do it.
So what's the name of it? And I'll tell.
So the name, as y'all can see, is I'm Not the Same Person.
I'm not the same person, man.
I'm not the same person.
So I read a verse this morning, John chapter 8, verse 25 through 30. All right, so the name of the passage is this man the Messiah?
It's like that, is this man?
Yeah, well, the name of the passage is Jesus the Messiah?
Oh. I'm like, the Bible do not say, is this man the Messiah?
Yeah, so the name of the passage is Jesus the Messiah?
Yeah.
All right, so some of the people who lived in Jerusalem started asking each other, all right, so isn't this the man that they trying to kill? But here he is, he's speaking in public, and they saying nothing to him. Could our leaders possibly believe that he is the Messiah? So basically, like, we see him all the time. He's speaking in public, but
ain't this the man they're trying to kill?
But ain't this the man that they're trying to kill? Like, could he possibly be the Messiah? So they go on to say, okay, how could he be? For we know where this man comes from. When the Messiah comes, he will simply appear. No one will know where he comes from. So they're saying, okay, we know where this man comes from, first and foremost. So I know for sure that he can't be the Messiah because he from
our hometown, like
Birmingham.
Right.
So while Jesus was teaching in the temple, he called out, yeah, you know me, and you know where I come from, but I'm not here on my own. You know what I'm saying? He say, the one who sent me is true, and you don't know him, but I know him because I come from him, and he sent me. So the leaders, they tried to arrest him, but no one could lay a hand on him because his time has not yet come. That's important because, which brought us to the topic today. As we grow, there are different things that are attached to us. It could be like survivor's guilt. People start to treat you different. They don't respect the new person or who you are because they don't understand it. They don't understand who you are as a new person. And some don't like the new person, and some just are scared of the new person. Intimidated by the new person because you don't do a lot of the stuff that they used to do, or y'all used to do. The reason that y'all met, the reason that y'all used to hang out, what y'all friendship was really based on. Yeah. It's not that anymore. So they're intimidated by the new person and they don't know how to correspond or interact with you. So I think that, this topic today is just vital right now because, we have a lot of people that are transitioning over to new people that is for the better. I'm hoping that it's for the better, and they're still trying to navigate some of the old ways of life, friendships, family, and etc. That's more so the direction that I wanted to take it in. Is let's get comfortable being who we are. Let's stop being so apologetic to the new things that we've learned, the new people that we are, and the new places that we're trying to go. to appease the ways of the past
Yeah.
when they're in the past for a reason.
Yeah.
So
Like stop looking in the rearview mirror, basically.
Yeah.
Or letting people bring up things that you've already worked past, healed from, and
yeah,
all that.
Yeah.
Because like you said, like you have to become so comfortable with who you're becoming that you can't really be affected by what other people think. You shouldn't be affected by what people think about you in general, but that's so easier said than done.
yeah. You got baselines, like core values that one should live by. If we don't have those written down, or we don't understand our core values, then I think that's for one just a place to start. I think that's a whole nother little short talk to talk about core values.
Yeah.
And you can have your four core top values that you know for sure. Hey, every day you find me, I'm gonna be doing one of these four.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I was reading the other day. Actually, I was in class like 2 weeks ago, and I'm in basically like a leadership class where we're learning how to be leaders in culture from a biblical kind of standpoint. So we were talking about self-actualization, and it's from the basics of the conversation was around 7 needs of every human. One of the things that stood out to me, which I thought to bring up in this conversation, was only 2% of the population becomes self-actualized. That is a need of a human and it's actually one of our needs to become self-actualized. What is self-actualization? What does that mean? So self-actualization is full realization of one's potential. And then some of the qualities of a person who is self-actualized or coming into self-actualization: focus, endurance, simplicity, intellectualism, spiritualism, self-acceptance, humbleness, compassion, concern for society. Some other things that define someone who's coming into self-actualization is they're comfortable with solitude, they have few friends, able to judge situations correctly and honestly, very sensitive to the superficial and dishonest. And then some other buzzwords that may help us understand self-actualization is like someone who's self-aware, self-worth, self-acceptance, self-discipline, self-confidence, self-achievement. So basically, like self-actualization, when you tie that into Christ, you're learning who you are, learning who you were created to be. Like you're realizing the potential that sits within yourself. You're doing the work to become the full version of yourself, basically. And we all have that desire. We all have that need to know our purpose, which is why we try to figure out our purpose our whole life for the most part. And we chase happiness and satisfaction in so many different ways. It also highlights the importance of understanding that when a person does come into that, they're becoming a new person, because they're actually learning, unlearn to relearn all the things of yourself that just weren't cutting it. And so you really become a whole new person. Like, I'm just not who I used to be a year ago. I'm not who I was 6 months ago. And I am for sure not who I was 10 years ago. There's some people who haven't been around me in 10 years since I graduated college. Mm-hmm. I'm completely different.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. What's the name? What's that term? I like that.
Self-actualization.
Self-actualization.
I have to find the psychologist. Let me see his name.
Yeah. Well, let me see that.
Okay.
The list that you were just talking about, man. I think that's interesting. It's actually my first time hearing that term and, being used that way.
Yeah, me too.
But only 2% of the population becomes self-actualized. Man. I think this, for one, this is important, like becoming self-actualized as adults. Well, as people in general, but just as adults, I think knowing who you are is half the battle.
What? What? And knowing what you stand for?
Knowing who you are, knowing what you stand for is half the battle. So once you get to that point, then I don't think you even care what the battle is anymore. So it's like if I walk into a room, or if I'm sitting at a table or something like that, or if I'm going to a podcast, normally, one would be nervous because of all the lights or whatever, but I think the podcast can go 2 different ways. It can go one way where I really don't care what you ask me.
Yeah.
I know who I am, and I know how I'm answering.
And I know what I know.
And I know what I know.
That's it.
So it doesn't matter what the question is, because I know who I am.
Facts.
Or it can go a whole nother way where I ask you questions and you don't know any of the answers, but you're trying to formulate answers that you think would make you look like a certain person, a certain
Facts.
way.
Yeah.
And that's where you
go with the wind.
You go with the flow. You go with the flows of the world, and people could sense the inauthenticity of the conversation. Mm-hmm. So
The lack of self-confidence.
Yeah.
No, that's a good point. I feel like the reason I laugh because I'll go into a meeting, y'all, that's kind of low key serious, and I will have no clue when I'm gonna start. I would have no clue what I'm about to say. Whereas like, and I'm not saying that this is smart, but the old me, I would have a script to the T. And I'm not gonna sit here in front like I still don't have some type of something, but I would have a script to the T, and like it would be long because I just wasn't sure in myself, and I wanted to have the answer to anything a person would ask of me. And like now it's just like, oh, I don't know, and I'm okay with not knowing certain things, and I'm also okay with just being my authentic self now. Like, and I'm not saying that you should not prepare for things. I'm just saying my preparation is more of ensuring that my role in this, I understand it.
Yeah. And I got to commend you on that because you used to kind of sound like a robot, I guess.
When?
Sometimes when I don't want to talk bad, but when I would hear you on calls or whatever, you would have, like you just said, 3 pages of what you know for sure you are going to say.
Absolutely.
I ain't even listening to what you got to say. I just need to make sure that I touch on all these points. I'm the complete opposite. And not because I had confidence in what I was about to say, but I'm a salesperson by profession. Yeah. So when we go into meetings, I have no idea what I'm about to say. I know what, topics that I could hit on so the conversation don't go left or right. Yeah, I know the boundaries that I have, but anything that come in between that is just really merely conversation. And I don't know where it's going to go, but I do know, maybe my end goal or what I'm trying to get out of it. Yeah. However we get there, that's a different story.
Yeah. All this ties into I'm not the same person because when you're going on this journey of learning who you are, dealing with past trauma, knowing what you stand for, no longer stand for, when you show back up in that same room that you've been, you look different. And it's not that you have changed into someone who you're not. You've actually changed into the person you were always meant to be. And you walk with, that comes with so much confidence and authority because it hits different. When you in a room and you've changed into a person that you're not, I feel like people can sense that, and it's just, I don't know. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, they can sense the fakeness. They can sense that, you still the same person, you're just a better person. You're just a better version of who you were. Yeah. Opposed to just a completely different person. Now that's different. Like I think, this term is more so alluding to you just really becoming the best version of yourself and not just becoming a whole different person. That's not what the video is about.
Well, I think you got to break that down because we are saying that when you are made over in Christ, you are made new. And it talks about, I got to find the scripture, but it talks about how you do away with your old self and you are this new person. So what do you mean like you're not a different person?
That's what I was trying to say. Like people, when you change, like not changing who you are, but just becoming a better version of who you already were. So like I'm not trying to change from Tabb to Terrence, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be a better version of Tabb. I'm trying to pick up a lot of things that would allow me to be a better version of myself.
Yeah, I think that's a good point because I'm not the same person, but it's definitely still traits and personalities and characteristics of who I've always been. Yeah. Just as a better version. It's just a more intentional, mature version. Yeah. But it's like I'm still Makaila.
Yeah, you still Kayla at the end of the day.
Yeah, I'm still Kayla at the end of the day. And you still Tabb at the end of the day. Yeah. I also feel like when you're becoming into your self-actualization, you also realize that it's a continual thing. So we're not sitting up here acting like we just fully self-actualized. And it's just so funny to keep on saying that word. Yeah, we just learned what that word even was. So we're not sitting up here, hopefully it's not coming across that we're portraying these individuals who figured it all out, because we have not. But what we do know are the things we've overcome and the things that are like in the review mirror now. I was wondering, on your new journey in life and like how Jesus, went through his own personal battles of people not believing he was a Messiah because they felt like, no, I saw you grow up. You were a carpenter. Chill out. I seen like you're not the Messiah. Yeah. They didn't believe him. Have you experienced people in your life who maybe don't accept the new you or different around you now? Have you went through that with any relationships? You don't have to, of course, pinpoint anything, but.
I don't necessarily, I'm not.
What the world?
That's crazy. I feel the shift whenever I am around my friends from a certain point in my life. Yeah. It is somewhat different. it's not a bad different. Like, I mean, they don't treat me bad or anything like that to make me feel different because I don't smoke or get drunk with them or anything like that like I have in the past. But outside of that, I really don't know how one may feel or perceive the new changes that I have going on because I ain't around nobody.
Did somebody say that you don't do nothing because your girl don't let you do anything, or like that you had changed or something because you date like a white girl or something? I said, white girl. Little do y'all know, this man doesn't want to do things on his own accord.
Yeah, and it's not that I don't want to do things. I just don't want to do
those
things.
Yeah.
I want to do a lot.
Man, I think that's a good point to bring up. People do start to feel like you don't want to do anything anymore. And it's like, no, I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
I want a healthy middle point where we can start to do new things.
If I've already done that, then I don't really want to do it no more. You know,
Yeah.
If it's not as fun as it was 15 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
It's just so funny, like how people judge you.
It's just, I think, again, that could be one of them, you know, this could be what come with ones that I've identified that you've been
Actualized.
You know, I think you can see out of the 1.6 or the 160 million people, whatever the number I gave you, I think it's 160 million people. You can tell
2%.
people that have worked on themselves, you know, and sometimes those people can be somewhat intimidating because, you know, they seem like they got it all, you know, have it all together when really they don't, you know, they're just working on themselves. And nothing is wrong with working on yourself. So, I mean, people will have stuff to say about people that are working on themselves because they're not working on themselves.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So
That's
dang, you don't want to smoke, you don't want to smoke, you don't want to drink, take a shot, take 3. Is this one?
Right.
And you're like, bro, why do you want me to take a shot so bad?
So bad.
You can't take one? No,
I don't.
Why?
I don't want to.
They want you.
I'ma still have fun.
I'ma still have fun. You want me to take a shot so bad because you want to feel like we can at least, you know, be on this level where I can get him to drink with me. So at least we, you know,
still got that in common.
Still got that in common. So I think people hold on to that, you know, and when you just affirm no, then now you change. Now you whatever.
Yeah.
You know, when that, I think that will come with it. But I'm
You
here to
should change.
say, yeah, you should change. We all should change. We all should evolve as people and get better.
Yeah.
Every day, I think. Mm-hmm. My fun, you know, it just may look different from one's other people's fun.
Yeah.
Fun I want to go to Atlanta for the weekend to get a session and go out and do what we gonna do. Mm-hmm. So my fun is, I might want to go to New York for the weekend with my wife and go to a rooftop restaurant in the middle of the city.
Yeah.
And have fun and overlook, you know, like it's different types of fun, but that doesn't make your fun more fun than my fun.
Right.
Right. Because you know what I'm saying? So it's like all that mixed together is just perspective and how you see it. I think one shouldn't judge either or. So I mean, it's not a judgmental thing with people that have not self-actualized themselves. Just start working on it. Just get on it, you know. Figure out where you want to go, where you are today, and what you need to do to get there.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, so what you think? I mean, you think you experience like different shifts in life, people, jobs, community, friends, all of the above.
Yeah, I think I've experienced a shift in just life in general of the things that used to be cool and fun to me are just no longer cool and fun, or experiences that I thought I used to want to take part in are no longer like things. Like I'm just finding joy in the simple things, really. And I'm learning to be okay with that. But it is like a process of, and I don't want to repeat a lot of stuff that you said, but like when you are, you know, working on yourself, there does come uncomfortableness with the people that knew you prior to you coming into the newer version. It creates uncomfortableness that I can sense easily. Like, and I I do feel like, you know, from a discernment perspective, I know I say this all the time, I do feel like that's one of the things that God gifted me with was the ability to discern. And discerning in the Bible is like being able to see between good and evil. I'm not calling nobody evil. I'm just saying on a surface level, I can discern when people are uncomfortable around me, or it's a shift in energy. I just feel it like instantly. And so, yeah, I felt that quite often in the last 2 years. I felt like that connection, compatibility. I think, and that could be it too. I think compatibility in relationships has started to shift for me.
I got a question for you. So do you think that that's, based off of like your walk, and are people starting to feel, or whoever it may be that's being uncomfortable around you, do you think that that's because they may feel actually uncomfortable around you as it relates to just their lives compared to, your walk and what you're doing and, for the kingdom?
It has to be just my walk, because I mean, nothing else about me has changed really, other than I am striving to live righteous. I am striving to be obedient. I am striving to do the things that God is calling me to do and requiring of me to the best of my ability. And that does require me to live a different life. And I'm joyful in it. I'm joyful in living the life that God is calling me to live. Is it easy? No. It has its hardships, but I find the joy in the hardships, because I can appreciate whatever lesson God gonna let me go through and understand on the other end of it. I know it's all for good, because He's a righteous God. So I know that anything that He has you walk through is for a reason, and it's gonna be a good reason.
Yeah.
You might not learn it until you get to glory in eternity.
Yeah.
But you gotta know that if you striving for righteousness and being aligned with God, it's gonna work out for your good.
Yeah. And when you're trying, like you 100% just trying, And I don't think we should we shouldn't treat people different because they try.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the times, ones that are perceived 160 million that have done
self-actualization.
That's done it, that's doing it on themselves. They may sometimes seem like they the weird people.
What?
Like they the crazy people. They're the weird people, introvertive.
Yeah.
And all of the above. When you really more so, I think, just don't understand. I think we need to give I give everyone grace to try to understand where they're coming from. Not in all situations. Some situations I just can't, but some situations, if it's some type of balance in that situation where I can possibly see or provide some type of empathy in it, then I'll say, okay, let's have a conversation. Let's talk about it. But give grace to your friends, man, that are just trying, They're just trying to be a better them. Trying to be a better version of themselves. Don't treat them weird.
Yeah, don't treat them weird, man. It kind of hurt. But I guess, you can have empathy for that situation too, because what y'all bonded over, you're no longer interested in. I think it all comes down to just that compatibility is no longer there. And I just read in my book too, the importance of when you are trying to be serious on your walk, the importance of the relationships around you is everything. Because if your relationships are still so heavily based on those that were a part of your life when you weren't on your walk for real, it's easier to slip back into old habits. It's easier to slip back into things that you are striving to overcome.
Yeah.
Just like a diet.
Yeah.
If I'm on a diet and I go into my office and they got pizza and donuts, you gotta learn how to remove yourself from certain situations that's gonna entice you to do things that you're trying to overcome. And it don't mean that those people who eating the pizza and donuts, you gotta condemn them. They not on no diet.
Yeah.
You've chose to be on your diet, so you go be on your diet and you do the things that's gonna help you stay on your diet. Same with your walk with God,
discipline,
self-discipline. Like I gotta be on my walk with God, even if nobody else around me is.
Yeah.
And I have to be on a walk that inspires other people to get on the walk, versus condemnation and no one wants to get on the walk because no one wants to be like me. That's why I'm not Christian, because of her right there.
That's counterproductive, being that way. Because I think, to your point, that turns people, a lot of people away, I think, from the faith, when the one giving it is condemning those that are seeking it. Did we touch everything?
I did want to ask you this. Do you feel like you grieve your old self?
You gotta expand on what you mean. Elaborate, please.
It was something that was brought to my attention, that it is something that people go through when they are trying to walk with God is grieving their old self. Because think about it. Think about if God pull you out of something that you love. I have a friend who was a professional dancer. God pulled her out of that. She loved it. She had to grieve that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. She had to grieve that version of herself. And so, I had that brought to my attention from someone else. Like, they asked me, like, did you grieve your old self? Like, I don't feel like I had a huge earthly, worldly passion that God pulled me out of that I can just, like, from a career kind of perspective that I had to grieve. But I feel like I had to grieve old relationships. I feel like I had to grieve, maybe whether it was certain habits or just things like that. But I just asked you that because it has come up in conversations with, just a few people that I've spoken with, that they had to go through a grief process of who they always thought they were gonna be. And God maybe pinpointed to them, like, I'm sorry, child, but this is not what I have for you. Maybe even somebody that's listening is like going through wanting to follow God and also grieving who they always thought they were gonna be or do.
Yeah, I don't know if I've had to go through the grieving process. I'm quite honest. I'm one of those people where I don't look in the rear view, in the rear view mirror or the
Okay, forward thinker.
Yeah. I'm like, if you know me, then you know that I'm for sure very forward thinking. So everything that has happened in the past, I'm a big belief that it's in the past for a reason, and that it happened for a reason. And it's what's gotten me to make it to today, whatever today may be.
Yeah.
And I ain't saying that everybody should look at it that way. It's just me personally. I'm a big, it is what it is. It happened. It happened for a reason. And I may not know the reason just yet, but I'm going to keep going until I find out the reason, So,
yeah.
That would be nice.
It's all about perspective. I would just offer encouragement if someone is feeling as though they're grieving their old self or something that they always thought they were going to do, but God is putting a pause on it. Just know that if you stay on the path of righteousness and seeking Him and all those things, like what you had to let go of, He's going to return it tenfold. Like it's going to be something that glorifies Him, and that's going to be the ultimate fulfillment in your life. And so if you had to let go of something that was a passion, if it's a gift of yours, it's going to be able to come back tenfold. Sometimes God just wants to see if you're going to be obedient. And when you do, I ain't saying it's going to always be this way, but it can come back in a completely different way where you're still allowed to operate in the gift of things that you've always wanted to do. What does God talk about in becoming a new person? Unless you have anything else that you want to add before we hop off.
Yeah, it's one quote that I really live by, and I don't even know how it ties into this, but I just want to share it. The reasonable ones adapt themselves to the world, while the unreasonable ones persist in trying to adapt the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man. And I read that every day. I got it on my computer, meaning that as long as we're reasonable, we don't get changed because we are adapting ourselves to the world and what the world has to offer. But it's the minute that we're unreasonable about topics, discussions, actions that are going on in the world, then that's the minute that change is made. Because we voice our opinion, we voice things that we're not comfortable with, we voice disagreements.
Yeah.
Now we're able to come to the table and have conversations to discuss change. So my word to the wise is just to be unreasonable.
Yeah, literally unreasonable refers to any action or result that exceeds a reasonable expectation or refers to anything beyond what would be considered common sense. So to be unreasonable is like, it's not common sense.
I know exactly. Change can't happen unless a substantial portion of the world allows the change to occur.
You know what?
Individuals that don't change the world are individuals that are reasonable.
I mean, what you may call it unreasonable, I call it being, from my perspective, logical. I don't really want to be reasonable with the world today, quite honestly. I'm not coming to reason on that.
It's nothing that we can talk about.
I'm not coming to reason on that.
Yeah, I'm irrational, unreasonable, whatever the word may be at the moment.
Unfortunately,
but I'll be that because y'all tripping.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and I think I'm glad that you stood on that quote, which I knew you were. But it's like going to the definition of how man defines a word still didn't rock how you knew you felt about that quote. And that goes into self-actualization. Like, you like, because I've heard Tabb say that quote a lot, but just in something in my mind is like, well, what does unreasonable mean? And then they try to make it sound like, oh, you don't have sound judgment, oh, you don't make good sense. No, y'all aren't making sense.
Yeah.
You want me to reason with that nonsense?
Yeah. You want me to
be unreasonable.
You want me to be of the world and be reasonable.
And you got to think
and
about,
not say nothing, just go with the flow and not be radical.
But you also have to think about, look at some of the change in the world today that also came from someone being unreasonable.
And radicals. Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, it wasn't for the good. Somebody refused to accept that it's two genders.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They became unreasonable in that.
Yeah.
And so they brought their arguments to the table, which now some of the world is accepting.
Yeah.
And now we, or whoever else doesn't agree, we're considered the unreasonable people.
Yeah. Yeah, so now they done flipped it around to make it seem like we unreasonable. You know what I'm saying? When it's like, fool. Yeah.
That's it. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to remain unreasonable in situations.
Yeah.
Man, that's good.
No matter what anyone
stand on what
said,
you stand on.
I know, whatever. Yeah, let's be radicals.
I like that quote.
Let's be unreasonable.
I like that quote. I wanted to just have, I just have one verse. I actually just read it in my reading yesterday. So ironic. But it's Ephesians 4:22. When you heard about Christ, and Paul wrote Ephesians, so he's always normally writing letters to the church. He said, when you heard about Christ and were taught in him in accordance with the truth that is in Jesus, you were taught with regard to your former way of life, to put off your old self, which is being corrupted by its deceitful desires, to be made new in the attitudes of your minds, and to put on the new self, created to be like God in true righteousness and holiness. And then my study notes about that say, believers are to put off the old self, a phrase referring to the sinful lifestyle driven by desires that deceitfully promise joy but did not give it. That in itself. They are to allow the Holy Spirit to renew their thought patterns, changing them from impurity to holiness. Holiness just means set apart, y'all. That's what it means. They are to put on the new self, a phrase referring to a new lifestyle of holiness and righteous living. This new lifestyle is put on positionally when a person receives Christ and needs to be lived out experientially through the Spirit's empowerment. So the rest was kind of like blah. But basically all that is saying, like, take off your old self. And like Tabb said, don't look in the rearview mirror. Like, we are born again in Christ. Literally, you're born again. So that means you are a new person, essentially.
Make me new again.
And I love how it said the sinful lifestyle that was driven by desires promised to give you joy, but never did. Never gave you joy. You have the world.
Never have, never will.
Never have, never will. It might give you temporary joy, but the minute it's over, you're going to be back potentially feeling empty. But yeah, I'm not the same person. Are you?
Yeah, I'm not the same person. I'm a better person.
Yeah. I'm a better version.
Better version of me, man. That's why we're making these videos and these podcasts, because we just want everyone to be better versions of themselves.
Yeah.
In no type of condemning fashion. Let's just be better.
Yeah.
So
let's become self-actualized.
Yeah, look that up.
Yeah, look that up.
I still can't say it.
Self-actualized. All right, peoples. Love y'all. Bye.